What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the FN Studios. Ram Dean and Black with you, looking ahead to UFC 205 in New York City this Saturday night. It is the Eagle versus Michael Johnson, a very important fight at 155 pounds. And when we've talked about the lightweight landscape, you can't just get victories. You can't just get a split decision, a unanimous decision, a very close fight. You have to have an exclamation mark, because right now everybody's talking about getting a title shot. Everybody wants the payday, especially if Conor McGregor is the man left standing after Saturday night's main event, because everybody wants their piece of the pie.
Hey man, red panty night is a real phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's a legitimate phenomenon. Sweetie, break out the red panties, we're rich. That if you're gonna headline a pay-per-view with a guy who does 1.5, 1.8 million pay-per-views and you get $1, you know, come on, my math ain't that good, but that's red panty night, you know? So it makes sense. But I like Khabib going into this fight. I love Johnson, man. I'm a huge fan. He understands how to beat this guy, and although nobody's done it yet. And Henry Hooft, the coach, dude knows what's up. It is the same game that we are seeing everywhere. And again, if you're a young fighter and you happen to be watching these dorks from Canada, they're telling you, you do not get romantic about the old way. You know, at some point a wrestler comes along and they out-wrestle everybody, and everyone's like, oh my God, we gotta wrestle. If you didn't get that, you got it too late and everybody beat you up. They put you down, they put their head inside, and they pounded you out. It's the same thing right now with spatial manipulation. 2 years ago, we were calling it the movement. People laughed, pointed, you guys are idiots. But you can see it. Tony is it, and Khabib is the opposite of it. Khabib is a very real fighter. If he can close the distance on you, and so far he has closed the distance on everyone, he can shut down this Stephen Thompson style of game, this Tony Ferguson style of game, this Conor McGregor style of game. And it's going to be fascinating. If Johnson knows how to do it, maybe Johnson can do it. Maybe he'll be the first guy. If he doesn't, he's going to lay out some of the blueprints for others in the future. But the dynamic of closing the distance versus spatial manipulation to keep the guy on the outside, that is the game we need to be paying attention to.
But for the Eagle, you look at the fact that we've only seen him one time over the last number of years, and you were the guy that pointed out Tyron Woodley. Well, we all expected Tyron Woodley to be something. Meanwhile, these are all evolved fighters. They're working with martial artists every single day, the best trainers in the world, to get better. During that time off, you would imagine everybody has been working on the things. Has Khabib been advancing the other areas? Does he have an understanding that, yes, everybody else is trying to catch up? So is he able to compete with the rest of the fighters at 155 pounds? The Darrell Horcher fight, he doesn't look like the guy that was a wrecking machine that could be world champion. Now, is that just because he'd been off for such a length of time?
Yeah, you got to get that one back under your belt. And both he and then Tony, when he had Groovy Lando, they both had guys that were on the lower end, but these lower end guys are
all very good.
What's happening in the gyms right now, there's 100 guys you never heard of outside of the UFC that are doing things that are going to blow your mind, because it is the next generation of the technology that's coming out right now. And Khabib and a lot of those guys who came from a combat sambo background, that combat sambo game has been about filling space and off rhythm and off timing ways to close distance. Then over here in Stephen Thompson's world, they've been maintaining distance. That's the warring factions right now at the top level of the fight game.
Well, let's look at 155 pounds from top to bottom, some of the most exciting fighters maybe in the game. But when you look at this logjam between number 10 and number 1, when you're really objective about things, you look at number 20 to number 10, and I know we don't have that list right there, but it will be just as competitive. You could see anybody in the top 20 competing with anybody in the top 10, which means anybody in the top 20, maybe even in the top 30, could have a chance to become the UFC champion. What do you need to do to guarantee that spot?
Yeah, you got to be putting guys away. You do, and you have to be innovating. You know, and not just because of the audience, not just because if the audience demands it, you'll be the guy fighting for a title. You know, it's because you are pushing the boundaries of the game itself. And it's a time of change that's happening at such a high level. In every single fight, we can see new things. And it's the guys who are creating randomness and creating chaos and doing things that the gyms that have so much structure are not understanding. Those are the guys that are going to excite us, and those are the guys that are going to win fights.
Well, we know the 155-pound division will be a focus because in the next couple of months, we know there'll be a lot of changes at the lightweight limit after UFC 205.